If somebody had asked me that would you play a character like this, I would have said no. But the fact that Sanjay Leela Bhansali thought that I could play or pull off a role like that is his genius. The fact that he thought that I could be able to pull off a character like that,
But
you know,
then
and
you
make me
can't-
believe that I am able to play it. Shooting with Shah Rukh has always been my favorite, always, because having a co-star like him is nothing short of a blessing.
Hi guys, this is Ankita. You're tuned into PeepingMoon.com. Now today I have someone with us I think I don't need to give an introduction for. It's not every day that you have an artist who have 25 years of career spanning in Bollywood, and then again, do I really need to tell you who she is? Let's just directly move our canvas to Rani Mukerji, and I think you fans have already made it very clear that what all I need to ask her. Hi Rani.
Hi.
Ma'am, the first thing first, 25 years, Bollywood is not the easiest place. And you have actually seen the seasons, the decades and the time change from a time where an actress was not ready to take on a full-fledged role. You started with Raja Ki Aayegi Baraat, a film which nobody thought anyone would do at that time until date, when the Mardaani, and then we have the variety with Bubbly. What makes Rani Mukerji Rani Mukerji?
I think my fans make me who I am. They are the ones who have created the star that I am today. Without their love, without their acceptance, I don't think I would have been able to survive for so long. Because I always say this, that we might work hard and we might do whatever we can in our capacity to work in films. But at the end of the day, if the audiences don't accept you, then all our mehnat is not even like worth the while. Because हम ऐसे बोलते ना कि there are so many professions where as a professional you have to give your best, but not every business works, or not every profession you're successful in, but you're successful only because of the sheer acceptance. And definitely in my field of doing films, I think our success lies in their hands. When they accept is when we become stars.
But doesn't it scare you, Rani ma'am, that you have seen actresses come and go? I'm sorry, I should not be maybe using this line like this, but you have standed the test of time, and with the scripts which normally nobody is ready to pick. Normally I would think, as I just said in my first question, scripts, maybe when you picked Tina, nobody thought that Tina would be Tina after that.
Right.
What always makes you pick out those kind of scripts which eventually become, I think, probably the most talked about subject?
I think like even this, what you're saying is, I think it's the sheer genius of writers, when they come up with writing such wonderful characters for us, and it is on our good luck that we select those scripts or those characters which at that point of time you feel very relatable towards. Like if I'm playing, say, Tina, for so many years back, I think it was more about wanting to do the film because there was something about the film that had some kind of magic.
Yeah.
And what that magic is, you can't explain, because certain times, certain films, certain characters bring about an emotion in you that you can't stay away from it. Like you want this story to be told to the audience, you want this character to be played. As an artist, sometimes it's a challenge for me to work in a particular film.
Like
because-
Black, when you
Exactly.
pick Black, I think nobody would even thought of that.
Exactly. So if somebody had asked me that would you play a character like this, I would have said no. But the fact that Sanjay Leela Bhansali thought that I could play or pull off a role like that is his genius. The fact that he thought that I could be able to pull off a character like that,
But then we
and make me
can't-
believe that I am able to play it.
But then, ma'am, we can't take away from the fact that as an actor, when you know you're on the peak of your career and top of your
Yeah.
game,
Yeah.
to put so much risk in a character which otherwise could have fallen flat.
Yeah, but I think that is the challenge that I like as a person. I think personally, the kind of person I am, I like to take up challenges. I like to, I'm a risk taker in that sense. Because today when you're in school, teachers teach children to be risk takers.
Exactly.
And I think that is something that I think I have imbibed in my life that being risk takers is always important, because not every time you will be successful, but whenever you are, there is a kind of satisfaction that you get by being a risk taker. So in my life, I think I have always tried to be honest to the roles that I've played or the characters that I've portrayed, because it's a huge responsibility on me, A, from the audience's side, because they expect me to deliver them the goods, and the other responsibility is that the character which I've chosen to play, I want to do justice to her as well, that people should see that character the way the character has been written. And I always like to go beyond the role which is on the script. Like I want my writers to come and say that, what, Rani, we wrote this character like this, but you've taken it to another level, which I want that to come from the writers. So that's always very nice for me.
And on that note, because there couldn't be anything fitting to celebrate 25 years for Rani Mukerji, so we asked fans to pick some of the best scenes from our films. Of course, there have been too many, but we've been managed to get a few. And sorry to everyone who seems like recommendations I couldn't pick, but there are a couple of scenes, ma'am, and I just would like to discuss them with you. What actually went behind making those beautiful scenes?
Done.
I'll start with the first one.
Okay.
The black scene where the character of yours asks Amitabh Bachchan that I would want that one kiss to feel that intimacy, and that I could feel like a woman.
Yeah.
One of the most beautifully, nicely done scenes.
Yeah. So I remember when we were to shoot that scene, Sanjay was very, very keen that we shoot the scene in a particular way, and thankfully I had a legend like Mr. Bachchan. And just having Amit uncle there, I think it was one of those scenes where there was a lot of purity in it. There was a lot of, I would say, coming from that character, to understand what a character goes through, in their lives. And that was one of the things that while I was doing my research for that role, that was one thing which Sanjay clearly had discussed with me, and I had seen that when the children come at a certain age, when they start having the wants of wanting to have physical intimacy with their partners, how is it that they react? How is it that they are? How do they ask their teachers? What is it? How do the teachers who are there with them, how do they train them? How do they explain to them what it is? So I think the way Sanjay always does something always aesthetically beautiful, and the way it actually happened, I think it's one of those, I would say, those precious moments in cinema which I think has been etched and done, forever. And just having Mr. Bachchan there, I think it was truly like a father-daughter kind of a like the relationship that I share with Mr. Bachchan is of being like his little child, and he is the mentor, he's the father. And it was the same with Michelle and Debraj's character, and I think it was shot beautifully. I really, really, really liked that scene.
I think it's probably one of the most tender might be the word.
Yes, absolutely.
If I have to put it.
Yeah.
The second one is the perfect match scene between you and Saif in Hum Tum, where he actually ends up saying that you will always be my preference, and where you tell him about first like how your marriage fell apart, and Abhishek passed away, and then a character. What was about that? Because it starts on discussing arranged marriages, and it sort of ends up him telling that I have something for you, and maybe you also.
Yeah. That's again a very beautiful scene, and I remember doing it. We shot it at a hotel in Marine Drive, where you can see the entire Marine Drive.
Yeah, it's beautifully lit.
Yeah, and we were shooting for Hum Tum. And while we did the scene, we never thought that this scene would turn out to be one of the best scenes of the film, because with Saif and me, always when we are on set, I think it's a very casual kind of atmosphere where we are having fun and cracking jokes. And I think eventually when we saw the scene ourselves, we kind of really wondered that the scene came out pretty well, because it was a one-shot scene. If you see, the camera doesn't cut.
Yeah.
So it was it was nicely done.
Yeah, I think I really like that one.
Yeah.
The other one which unanimously came almost with all the fan clubs was the scene in Satya, where you and Vivek have this thing that you will mark your calendars if you will fight a lot.
Yeah.
And towards the end, one day you're like, we have more fights and more marks on this calendar than we love each other.
Yeah.
and I think I did a mistake sort of to just get married to you.
Yeah.
That one outburst.
So shooting Satya was again too much fun because I had Shad, who's my director, one of my favorite directors, very close friends, direct Satya, and that film was like a student film only. We all were like very young and trying to do
And Javier Rahman
make a
music,
film.
probably
Yeah,
the best.
just amazing music we had, thanks to Mr. A.R. Rahman and of course Mani Ratnam sir, who created that film and that music. But I think we were at what is that place in town, Valkeshwar, which is by the sea, and this was an under constructed building. And shooting there, those scenes were real fun because we had Anil sir, who was the director of photography, and we had Shad, and I remember having a blast in Valkeshwar. When time used to just fly off, we never knew. And the entire shooting of Satya has been like in the trains, and the local trains. And I remember fans calling out to my name, while we were crossing and while we were in the train, and them passing. It was quite a fun time shooting the entire film in Mumbai. It was really, really fun. Right from Babulnath to all the places that we shot in.
And that house will always be, I think.
Yes, and we shot in the train colony in Bandra, opposite Gaiety Galaxy. So that entire house where I live with my parents, that's the railway colony, the railway quarters that we shot in, which was amazing. So yeah, wonderful memories of Satya.
Okay, the next one is Kabhi Alvida Na Kehna's final goodbye. I cannot take that away.
Which scene?
The last one where you stop Shah Rukh and tell him कि तुम अब भी उतना ही तुम्हें अब में भी अभी भी इतना गुस्सा है, and you still Dave cannot come up to the terms and tell me that you love me. You finally have to admit it.
Right.
That one. Because it's ironical. In the first scene, he's giving you all the gyan on how the final goodbyes are like, and in this final goodbye, you are finally both confessing love for each other.
Yeah.
I think it's a personal favorite also.
I think Kabhi Alvida as a film was very, very special because we were shooting in New York for 4 months. And it was a film which was again very path-breaking in terms of the kind of concept, the fact that we were openly talking about relationships and marriage, couples not being happy, and that time people were wanting to always keep a facade about their marriage. And we are at a time where people openly talk about their marriage is not working or them not being happy, and it wasn't the trend then.
It was a big deal talking about infidelity. I remember the kind of backlash it came your way. That how can they cheat?
Yes, so exactly. So I think at that time Kabhi Alvida was a film that we believed in truly because it was a film that spoke the truth. It was in all honesty. And Karan being Karan, him choosing a subject like that was very brave of him, because even Karan in his own way likes to always push the boundaries in terms of what he wants to make. And Kabhi Alvida was one such film where all of us came together to make a wonderful, honest film, Today when people talk about Kabhi Alvida Na Kehna, there's a different reaction to the film.
I think it's very relevant. This is happening and people are talking about it openly.
Exactly. So at that time, obviously, it was too much for people to take the honesty.
I remember the backlash.
Yeah, and today I feel happy that we did that film because it's a film that helped so many couples to realize their own relationships, realize their own happiness quotient in their marriages. And I think that was wonderful. And with Kabhi Alvida, my memories have always been truly, truly special because shooting with Shah Rukh has always been my favorite, always, because having a co-star like him is nothing short of a blessing.
And when you two romance in
yes, nothing better than that. And also the songs, the way it was shot, the way the songs really, has a dreamlike quality to it. I think everything about Kabhi Alvida Na Kehna was grand and beautiful and very honest.
And the wardrobe was steel worthy. Every sari I can steal if Manish is listening.
See, Bunty or Bubby too. You can become a con artist with.
Done. I think I'll be calling Sabyasachi for the outfits as well for that one. And the last but not the least, that Mardaani scene where you slap that goon right across the market space. Yeah. I mean, not 1, 2, you just literally rip him in pieces. It was so, I would say it was so powering to see that just go and hit it out and call out the people who
Yeah.
are not doing it right within the system.
Yeah.
I just find it very empowering. That one scene was also picked out by a lot of fans for you.
Yeah, I think that scene was special because it spoke about all the sections possibly that you can talk about by law. And it was interesting to see somebody slap and give the sections. And I remember shooting that scene in Hiranandani. We're shooting at Hiranandani in Pavai. And the person who I was slapping, he came so sweetly and said, I'm so lucky that today I'm doing this scene with you. I said, but why are you lucky? You're going to get slapped by me. He's saying, no, I'm so excited that you're going to slap me.
You're going to
So
hit
I'm
me.
like, yeah, you're going to touch my face. I'm like, okay. And he called up his wife and very excitedly said, Arey, aaj Rani Mukerji ne mujhe thappad mara. And I was like, what's going on, dude? And I felt so bad after slapping him so many times that I had to gift him something. I felt so bad because
course.
he said, nahi, aap mujhe maro. So I was like, nahi, सच्चीमुच में मारो. हाँ, आप मारो. And he was very happy taking the slaps. So it was one of those very funny scenes happening outside the camera, and in the camera it was a very empowering scene.
Thank you so much, and so excited to finally have Bubbly and the posters from the first room. They, trust me, I had them in my room. I had the feeling of keeping the cutouts. It's been a long journey, but thank you so much.
Thank you.